Hey, what's up, y'all? So you just copped the re-release of Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. You went online, and you got bodied. It's cool, happens to the best of us. Persona 4 Arena has been out for nearly a decade, meaning a lot of people are very experienced already. You clicked on this video to learn, so let's get your game fixed up. For the purposes of this guide, by the way, I'm going to assume that you have basic understanding of fighting games, including general terms and phrases. But if you have any questions, drop a comment, and if I don't get to it, I guarantee you somebody from the community will. So step 1, pick a character. Being that you stumble upon this guide, you've probably settled on Yu Narukami. But let's step back for a moment and really analyze, why should we play this character? Well, there's no better place to start than with the most all-around balanced character in the game. Narukami pretty much can do it all. He doesn't suffer from too many exploitable flaws. He can pretty easily adapt to any situation that you find yourself in. Once you're able to convert hits into full combos, he gets insane corner carry on the opponent. And speaking of confirming hits, pretty much any touch on the opponent gives you a full combo. He has a lot of tools at his disposal, which gives you a ton of variety in how you want to pressure the opponent to keep them guessing. As far as the negatives go, you know that old saying, jack of all trades, master of none? Well, that doesn't really apply to Narukami at all. He's actually very good at what he does, and he does a lot. What could be considered negatives, though, are that you're very susceptible to persona breaks. Used Persona Izanagi stays out there for a hot minute if your attacks don't land. Smart opponents can capitalize on this and make sure that you get low on persona cards really quickly. And of course, if your persona gets broken, you lose over half of your moveset. Also, mid-screen, it can be really tough to convert into high damage without using resources, so your best bet is always to push the opponent to the corner. But if a major con for a character is that his mid-screen combos push the opponent to the corner to do more damage, then that's pretty self-explanatory for the level of strength that this character possesses. Okay, so before we go any further, we have to briefly cover numpad notation. If you already know what 236A means, then you can skip this part, but if you don't, I'll explain. Anime fighters have historically been very niche, small communities spread out across the globe. So to get past the language barrier, they basically developed this form of notation for combos and moves in which you don't use words. So you may be used to Street Fighter or something like that, where people will typically say quarter circle forward, light attack. Instead of that, we say 236. But why is that? So imagine a numpad that you may find on a larger keyboard. All of the numbers basically represent directions. So with 5 being neutral, which means you are not touching the joystick or not touching any of the directional buttons on the D-pad, you can mentally map directions to each of the numbers, with 2 being down, 6 being forward, 4 being backward, and the numbers in between being the diagonal directions like down forward or down back. Simple enough, right? So quarter circle forward is down, down forward, forward, and you would replace that with the numpad notation, making it 236. Very easy stuff. Moving on, before we get into the combos, we're going to discuss the properties of a bunch of Narukami's moves. We're not going to go over everything, and there's a whole world of frame data out there, ranging from things like what's plus on block, negative but plus on block if you kind of sort of get the right angle on it, something that's dash cancelable on block, which makes it safe and not punishable. But that's a bit too advanced for the scope of this guide, so we're going to keep it simple. I'm going to throw out just basic descriptions of Narukami's moves, and if you want to dive deeper, you can go visit dustloop.com. This site has more than a comprehensive list of frame data, insight on character moves, combos, strategies, videos, everything that you need. So the basic moves represent the foundation upon which learning a character and executing your game plan is built. I highly recommend going through the command list for any character that you pick up, and definitely try to perform as many of the challenges in the challenge mode as you can. For Narukami, 5A and 2A are your basic light attacks. 2A hits low. They're very quick relative to the speed of every cast member's light attacks. They help with applying continuous pressure and can also be used to punish the opponent's quick recovering moves. 5B is amazing for space control, and it's also similarly great for punishing things that you can normally not punish with 5A and 2A. 2B is a pretty effective anti-air that you can use whenever the opponent jumps at you. Jumping A, jumping B, jumping 2B, and jumping down A are all pretty fantastic moves. Jumping A is great air to air. Jumping B has a lot of lenient active frames, which means that you can kind of just stick it out there and hope that it touches the opponent, and then you get a free combo. Jumping 2B has amazing range, similar to standing 5B. You can use this as a pretty good cross-up tool. It forces the opponent to block the other way, which a lot of players aren't very good at doing. You may have noticed that a few of those air dashes are really close to the ground, and if you don't know how to replicate that, that's called an instant air dash. Jumping regularly and then dashing gives the opponent a lot of time to react to it. However, if you begin with a forward jump or a backward jump, you can press the same direction immediately after coming up off the ground, and the game will register it as 2 forwards or 2 backwards, even though there was the jump in the middle of it. The result being that you get an air dash very quickly off of the ground. This allows you to perform the jumping attacks way faster. 5C is good for damage when starting combos, but you can't just throw it out whenever like you can with the other regular attacks, so don't use it unless you're guaranteed to get a combo because you're punishing the opponent for something that you blocked. Furious Action is a rising invulnerable attack. On startup, it's pretty good, but don't just use it every single chance you get, like every time you wake up. It'll become predictable and you will get punished incredibly hard. For the special moves, 236 CRD, Zeo is a projectile with good speed. It helps Narukami play against zoners and lock out people that can't zone as effectively. The enhanced version is a very good tool for pressure. 214 CD is Swift Strike. It can low profile projectile attacks from a bit of a distance away, but it's very unsafe on block, so only throw it out if it's absolutely certain that you're going to get a hit on the opponent. Finally, the C version of this is probably the primary tool in your offensive game plan because it provides you with a safe jump. Now that word or combination of words may not make sense to a lot of you, but I assure you I'll explain it when we get to that part. Raging Line is another fantastic special move executed with 214 A or B. It can close gaps from almost full screen. It has like 7 different versions. If you perform it with A or B on the ground, then you have the enhanced version on the ground, and then there are different properties for the ones performed in the air with A or B, or both A and B for the enhanced version in the air. This is one of those things where it makes sense why I said that you should just go to dustloop.com for a deeper explanation, but the basics that you need to know are that most times this move is safe on block, but that doesn't mean you should abuse it because you lose your turn, which essentially just means that if you do this and the opponent blocks it, then they have freedom to start their pressure for their offense on you. For the final option, you can feint the attack. All you need to do is hold B while performing the grounded version of the attack, and you'll be able to perform additional actions in the air. This can be very helpful with catching the opponent off guard. 236AB Heroic Bravery is primarily a combo tool. The A and enhanced versions can combo into pretty much any other special. The B version is a command grab, which is excellent at exploiting overly conservative and patient opponents. The enhanced version is actually advantages on block, so you can use it and then you are free to keep on pressing buttons because the opponent can't do anything except an invincible attack. For the super moves, double quarter circle forward C or D gives you Zeodyne, which has invincible startup. You only really want to use this to finish the opponent off because it puts them a full screen away, and for this character you always want to be in their face to keep your pressure on. Double quarter circle forward AB, Lightning Flash. This isn't invincible, but if you insist on using super meter in your combo, this is as good of an ender as you can use on the ground, while not in Awakening. Because when you are in Awakening state, then you can use Cross Slash, double quarter circle back C or D. This move actually is invincible, unlike Lightning Flash, but you should pretty much always use the C version of it. The D version takes a bit longer, and you'll find that you'll end up dropping a lot of combos, or the opponent will recover in time to block it. For the last super, you're probably never going to use this at all. It's very cool and can make you look super flashy, and it can win games, but it has a very high commitment and execution barrier. There's a very small number of combos that are very specific that allow you to combo into it, and even if you do get it off, you're probably going to drop the execution. So save this for when you've become a Narukami expert and want to really show off. Now we get to everybody's favorite part of the game, combos. But going into this, I need you to understand, yes, the fun of fighting games is creativity and personal flair, but there are fundamentals for every character upon which optimal routes and combos are built. Key point, we never want to be flashy over functional. Sure, you can pull off some flashy high damage combo that ends with a super that takes 5,000 damage from the opponent's health bar, but what's the purpose if they end up a full screen length away from you and you can't continue your pressure? Worse even, what if you put them into awakening state by doing so much damage but didn't kill them off? Now the opponent is taking less damage because they're in awakening mode, and they also have access to their most devastating combos. So the combos that I'm about to teach you, we're going to emphasize a specific game plan. Early in the tutorial, you may recall that I mentioned safe jumps and how 214C's Swift Strike allows you to execute a said safe jump. So a safe jump is basically when you knock the opponent down, the length of their wake up in comparison to when you are active and able to perform actions allows you to execute an instant air dash and then use a jump in attack. And that's the beauty of fighting games. We're taking what we learned earlier with the instant air dash, and now we're applying it to something a bit more advanced. Again, any combo ending in 214C almost always guarantees a safe jump. There's a specific timing to it, but all you have to do is wait just a tad bit after the knockdown, instant air dash towards the opponent, and then perform a jumping attack of your choice. Ones with more active frames are better because you don't have as strict timing, so I advise you to use jumping B. Now this is the really cool part. If the opponent wakes up and tries to block, then they have to block overhead, which a lot of opponents don't do initially, so you may hit them and open them up. If the opponent wakes up and tries to attack while your attack is already active, then they get hit. Now check this out. If they wake up with an invincible move, let's use Narukami's Furious action as an example. As long as you're holding back while jumping in with the attack, you will actually block the move or not get hit if it's a move that doesn't hit immediately. And this is what we're basing our offensive game plan around. Try to end as many combos as possible that you get with a safe jump, and we can put the opponent on the back foot for most of the game. Combos can start out with pretty much any opening. You're most often going to initiate a combo with a jump in attack or a hit with a very quick attack like 5A, 2A, or 5B. Here's a very easy combo leading into safe jump. 5B, 5C, Heroic Bravery A version, and then Swift Strike 214C. At certain distances, you actually cannot connect the 236A. So to start out, I actually recommend just doing the 5B, 5C into Swift Strike. A basic auto combo starter that you can use is 3 5As in a row, and then jump cancel the third hit and immediately press jumping C, which you will then immediately link into the Raging Lion A version in the air. This combo is very helpful at learning how quickly you have to link things together in this game. Any combos that require jumping typically need you to execute the jump immediately after connecting the last hit, and then perform the next move very quickly as well. Now typically you do not want to use meter to perform supers and combos if it's not going to kill the opponent, because again, we want to make sure that we pressure the opponent to the corner and we can keep that pressure on. However, if you have enough meter to perform a one more cancel, you can do more damaging regular combos that allow you to still end in safe jumps. This combo right here is pretty easy. After your opener, you want to use a Swift Strike D version instead, because you can one more cancel as soon as you hit that last hit and they go flying, and then you have to dash to catch them with a standing C, which you can jump cancel into 2 jumping Bs, then jump cancel that again into a jumping B, jumping C, and finally finish with a Raging Lion B version. Here's a little trick though. It can be really cumbersome to have to dash after performing the one more cancel. When you cancel the move using the one more cancel, you can actually hold forward while using the one more cancel command, and it will automatically send your character running forward. I'm going to show this as an example of a bit more advanced and more difficult to perform combo. I'm not going to give you the commands. This is just to show you that once you get the basics down, then you can move on to some more advanced stuff. Now, anti-airs. Very important that when you execute an anti-air on a jumping opponent, that you don't stop just at hitting the 2B. Make the opponent pay for every mistake that they make, so you can keep them overthinking their game plan. Whenever you hit an anti-air 2B, you can immediately cancel into 5C, and then jump cancel into jumping double B, followed by another jump cancel into jumping B, jumping C, and then Raging Lion B. Of course, this combo doesn't work at all heights, so if you want to be safe and not have to memorize a bunch of different routes when you're unfamiliar with the character to start off with, I would recommend after connecting the 2B anti-air, jump immediately, hit a single jumping B, and then cancel that into the end of the combo with the jumping B, jumping C, then Raging Lion B. Continuing with the theme of making the opponent pay, I'm going to add a slightly advanced combo route here. Throughout the course of your gameplay, you may see this thing pop up on the side of the screen called a counter hit. A counter hit occurs in a lot of different situations, and we're not going to cover all of them. But when the opponent whiffs on a furious action or you block it, pretty much every time you can get a counter hit. So to punish them for that mistake, you want to start the counter hit combo with 5C. Off of the 5C, you can dash cancel it and then cancel that dash into 2B. This combo has kind of clunky execution, which is why I identified it as a slightly advanced combo, but just practice it and you should be able to get it down in no time. After connecting the 2B, you have a guaranteed bread and butter combo with the 5B, 5C Heroic Bravery into Swift Strike. And if you want to get really freaky with it, you can try out the one more cancel extender that we showed earlier. Instead of the C version of Swift Strike, you can do the D version, one more cancel, and then try to finish the combo off. Okay, so we've got our game plan going. The opponent is pinned in the corner because we got a touch or two in the mid screen with a corner carry combo. Unique thing about the corner combos with Narukami is that we can see that any combo that ended with the Raging Line A or with a Swift Strike in mid screen just stopped. But in the corner, you get to continue it with a standing light jab. So here we can look at what we learned earlier about the auto combo extension with the jump cancel to jump C into Raging Line A, and we can catch the falling opponent with a 5A, which can then combo into a 5C, then a 2C, and immediately into Raging Line B. And surprise, we get a safe jump, leading into more pressure. Same thing goes with the Swift Strike routes. A combo that normally would have ended before with a Swift Strike C version, now you can catch the falling opponent with 5A, 5C, 2C, and a Raging Line B. And again, safe jump, more pressure. Now if you've got the opponent in a position where you have a lot of meter to expend and you have them in the corner and they have about 4,000 life or so, you can try this combo out. You're going to try a normal Swift Strike route, except you're going to use the enhanced version this time, and then you're going to immediately use a Furious action at the very end, but you're only going to let the Furious action hit one time. On that initial hit of the Furious action, you're going to immediately cancel it into double quarter circle forward B, but the combo doesn't end there. You can actually link a 2B into a jump cancel, into jumping C, into Raging Line A, and then even still you can get the 5A catch on the falling opponent into the 5C, 2C, Raging Line B. And if you have even more super meter, which you can easily build while performing this very long combo, then you can link into a super or enhanced moves instead. Of course, I would be remiss to not hook you up with a command grab combo in the corner. So in mid-screen, command grabs do not do anything except catch the opponent off guard and give you a little bit of damage. But in the corner, they have to be extra vigilant not to get caught by it, because hopefully you execute this any chance that you get. After the opponent comes falling down from the command grab, they're falling down for a long time, so you can pretty much connect any attack you want here. So we'll keep it simple with just a 5B. Jump cancel the 5B into jumping C, into Raging Line A, and you know the rest at this point, right? 5A, 5C, 2C, 214B, golden. Homework time. Oh, you didn't think I was going to let you get out of here without homework, right? Make sure you can repeat all these combos without fail multiple times in a row. The real thing is very different from the training room. And these combos have a lot of routes. Think of it like puzzle pieces. You have starters and you have enders. Once you have all of them committed to memory, you can plug and play. Oh, I caught a low mid-screen, I gotta go to this combo. Oh, I caught an anti-air, I gotta go to my anti-air combo. Oh, this combo started kind of right of mid-screen and it's going to end up in the corner. After the Swift Strike, I already know, because I know my corner combos, that I can get a 5A while the opponent is falling. So on and so forth. As you develop your understanding of the combo routes, you become a much better player. And remember, these are just the basic combos, bread and butters. There's way more deep combos out there, again, that you can find on Dust Loop or in the Persona 4 Arena Discord. We didn't even touch on fatal hit combos or personalist combos, stuff like that. But now we're going to take the bit of knowledge that we have accumulated throughout the guide so far and try to apply that to real gameplay. You have to play real people to get better. And as you play real people, you quickly realize that it's a totally different world. To do damage, you need to open the opponent up. But how do we do that with Narukami? Narukami doesn't have a whole lot of tricky mix-ups where something looks like it's hitting low but it's really hitting high. you have a lot of honest pressure. You ever play against somebody and you just feel like you just can't do anything because every time that you try to do something, you're just getting hit? That's what Narukami is supposed to make the opponent feel like. We do this using block string pressure. When the opponent blocks your attack, you want to make them have to think about blocking or evading grabs. So simply throw in some grabs with your light attacks. Do a down A and then grab them, and next time that you hit them with a 2A, they're going to think to themselves, oh no, are they going to grab? And instead you can just walk forward and just attack them again, and now they're getting hit. This is called conditioning. You want to keep throwing in new variations of block strings and pressure so that the opponent doesn't get used to anything, so they have to think more slowly and carefully whenever they want to react. It's way easier for the opponent to just say, hey, I'm just going to use my special right now that's invincible whenever you do X because you always follow it with Y. If instead of following X with Y every single time you do with A, B, C, and Z, then they got to think about that. It allows you to do some really crazy stuff like, hey, I've Raging Lion over this block string 3 times, so let me gamble on doing this Swift Strike, which it hits low instead of overhead like the Raging Lion. It might pay off, and if it doesn't, I could probably cancel with the one more cancel anyway. It takes a lot of practice to be good at this because this is a lot more reactionary and it's a lot more calculation in real time. This is where the real heavy mental aspect of fighting games comes into play. You have to immediately develop an understanding of the opponent's tendencies so you can know what you can exploit, and then pivot in real time so that you can land your hits. As far as the rest of the strategy for Narukami's gameplay goes, it's very easy. You always want to go in a match focusing on exploiting the opponent's weakness because you're good at pretty much everything. So if you're up against a Yosuke or Akihiko, they struggle against zoning, so force them to come to you because they can only do their damage close. Normally you don't end any combos with Zeodyne, but against these characters you might want to think about it because maybe you want to create that full screen distance with 30 seconds left on the round clock. Now they're scrambling to make up for damage because they don't want to lose as a result of time over. Yukiko and Yukari are zoners. They play full screen. Make sure you get in their face. You know what their game plan is. They're always going to try to create separation, so you can always chase down with the Raging Lion, for example. With Narukami, make sure that you capitalize on any hits that you land by eking out as much damage as possible while still making sure you get the opponent to the corner and you keep the pressure alive primarily through safe jumps. Once you start fighting some better opponents, you'll kind of realize that the safe jump isn't the most amazing oppressive tool in existence, but it'll definitely carry you a very long way. And that's Narukami, a super well-rounded character that can be great to start out with and get better not just at Persona, but at fighting games in general. Hopefully this guide has contributed positively to your development as a fighting game player. And maybe I'll see you next time.